Welcome back to Hoosier Homes and Hustles. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jessica Williams.
And I'm Stacy Preston, and we're both real estate brokers with eXp Realty in Central Indiana. If you're passionate about real estate, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to join the hustle.
All right, and today we're keeping it real, and we are actually going to be interviewing one of Stacy's first clients in a Beyond the Closing Table episode.
That's right. I'm so excited about this. We're interviewing my friend Erin Heile about some of her experiences as a homeowner. Erin is a former coworker of mine, and she was actually my very first client when I became a realtor, and she's since closed 3 deals with me, so very valuable repeat client. She also has had some hilarious and sad highs and lows in her real estate journey, along with a very entertaining personality, so we thought she'd be perfect to interview for this episode. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love being honored with awards, so the first and a three-peat.
Yeah, my first three-peat client. Now, I will say, Erin, I've had a four-peat, so you need to buy some more real estate soon.
Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
I mean, it'll only add to the stories, right?
Exactly. So, Erin, tell us a little bit about your real estate journey from your first home to where you are now.
Absolutely. So when I first got here to Indy, I rented for quite a while and decided in my mid-20s to purchase. And so got a condo in the kind of the north side of Indianapolis. Lived there for 15 years. So I was there for quite a while.
Wow.
Got a first-time home buyer's grant in order to get it, which was really exciting. So that helped me get through the kind of getting a home. And then Ned and I moved in together, and we bought a home on 96th Street, and then we sold his house, bought that, and then we ended up buying another home as a second home in Trafalgar, Indiana, which was going to be our kind of vacation home on the water. But life circumstances changed, and the realty journey began from there.
And it did. So, Erin, tell us about how you transitioned from that condo. It was your first property you bought into really using that as an investment property. How did you end up turning that into rental? And did that help you achieve some of your real estate goals?
Absolutely. So it's kind of a unique story. I was actually at lunch with you and a bunch of coworkers and just, going around the table, telling your stories. And I was just kind of highlighting some of what was going on in my life. And you had mentioned that one of our coworkers was looking for a place to rent. And was I thinking about renting my place out? And this was before, obviously,
I don't even remember this. Yeah, I wasn't even in real estate yet.
You were a connector. But anyway, so you connected me to somebody at work that you knew was looking. And I got very lucky with my renters. So rented with somebody from work. They were a family. And then it was the gift that kept on giving. They moved out, forwarded it on to somebody else, like, hey, we know somebody else who wants to rent it. So I got super lucky and rented it for about 5 years. And so there was a lot of ups and downs on when we wanted to sell it because the market shifted so much right after, we were going through the pandemic and we were needing some funding for our home that we thought was going to be our secondary home. We ended up moving into it just because of timing and some different things happening. And went through like a full gut reno. There was just a whole lot going on there. But in terms of helping us, really reach our investment goals, it was amazing. I did not expect my condo to go up that much in value.
Well, right. 'Cause if you wouldn't have started renting it, you would have sold it like 5 years earlier. And that equity gain, that was huge.
Yeah, so that was a really big win for us financially. I had been told, and I don't know, maybe you tell me if this is still the case, but when I first purchased it, I was told only to expect the value maybe to go up 2% per year. So I always had it in the back of my head that it wasn't a big, moneymaker.
Right.
On average, 2 to 3%.
Yeah. So it was a significant win for me.
Yeah, the timing on that was great.
Yeah.
And
I think we have another award. I think it was the highest sale price in that condo.
Oh,
unit.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're sweeping the awards today.
Here we are. So during the renovations of your current home, you had some challenges with contractors? Oh, shocker, right? Can you let us know what happened?
Yes, this story is there is a lot to this one. So I'll try to piece it apart, but we got referrals. So this is kind of what makes it really interesting, right? So we got a referral to a designer to help us because again, this was a full gut reno in this A-frame that we purchased, and it's like got separate quarters. So you've got your main home, and then below you have what we call like an in-laws quarters. And so we decided to redo the in-laws quarters first, move in there, and then redo the top. So that was kind of like our big plan. So the contractor was a referral through somebody we got, and he came in and he did a decent job, right? Like everything was fine. First thing he did, I was working a lot. I was not involved much in it. There were quite a few things that I was, disappointed in the way that the craftsmanship came out, but it was still functional and I was exhausted. A lot had been going on. So I was just like, okay, great. It's done. Woohoo. And then when we went to make the decision on the main house, my husband just wanted to stick with what he knew. And I did not debate that hard enough. And the reason the red flags, like now looking back, the huge red flags for me were how the contractor treated me during the walkthrough of what we wanted in our home. Because we were walking through very specific details of where you want light switches and outlets and how you want to, set up your home. Because it was, again, we changed everything. We changed the staircase location.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like every single thing was basically moved. And the way the contractor would talk to my husband and not talk to me. And he would say, like, well, she might want. And at one point, my husband even said, she's standing right there. You can ask her. And that right now, looking back, I wish I would have just been no. But I didn't. So that was one huge thing as far as a red flag that I saw. But in terms of the contractor, he was very dismissive of me. He would not show up on time, leave for weeks at a time. The pandemic had hit, so we started changing his pricing. And we understood some of it, and we tried to be very easy to work with, knowing that things had changed. But I would say this, the biggest thing that I learned is to double check the work they do on a regular basis and ask more questions. And the reason I say this is because we paid to have our dream bathroom shower specifically done 4 times. It was just a really disappointing thing. He ended up walking off the job, left all of his equipment at our house, sent an email and said, I can no longer work with you unless you give me money. So basically held us ransom.
Is it this contractor that did it 4 times?
No. He did it the first time, didn't do it right, messed up had the wrong tile, blamed the designer. We were like, no, we want this redone. Redid it. Then he ends up walking off the job. We have to get a whole new contractor in. Another piece of advice, just get a general contractor that you trust and let them deal with this nonsense.
That's really good advice.
Especially if you were like us. We had never done it. I don't know what we were thinking. Like, I don't know what we were thinking.
So you were trying to GC it yourself?
Well, we had this guy that we thought was doing it, and my husband was there. I don't know what we thought we were doing. We were taken advantage of because we were morons. That's about it. I mean, that's the simple version of it.
But I mean, most people don't do this often, right? So, I mean, I think that's why this is so important. Like, you don't know
what you don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So our GC that we ended up getting was amazing, by the way. He ended up coming in, knocking everything out really fast. But why we had to get the bathroom done 4 times. So the first contractor twice. So next contractor comes in, they just finish out what he had done. But then they start and they're like, he didn't line it all the way back. So then they had to do the whole thing. Okay. This is where it gets frustrating. So then it's all done. We're super excited. Everything, woohoo, moving in the right direction. I get the phone call. General contractor says, come up. He's like, you might want to get your insurance ready. And I'm like, what is going on now? Apparently, when the gentleman walked off, the last thing that he was working on was that bathroom area. And he had taken and dumped a ton of grout down into our piping to where we couldn't see it. That contractor would have never have known. There was zero way this was an accident.
Oh
And
my gosh.
basically, they had to then rip the whole thing back out, redo all the piping 4 times for that shower. You know what? I took a shower in there this morning and I loved every fucking minute of it. It's a great shower.
It better be after 4 goes at it.
Wow. So he did that on purpose.
Oh, 100%.
There's no way it just accidentally fell down the drain.
Our contractor, our good GC walked us through. He's like, look, there's zero way this could be an accident. And he walked us through it, and knowing the timeline and how, this guy walked off the job and was just such a jerk.
So what happened to all of his tools and everything?
Yeah, fun story there. So my brother, called my brother for emotional support because I don't know what to do. And so I'm like, oh, I need emotional support. Can you come over? Tell me what to do. 'Cause I'm just full on a mess. So anyway, my brother came over. My husband was fuming mad. And on a pure rage fit, he threw everything in the back of his truck. My brother helped him put everything on there, drove it over to the guy's house, pulled right into his driveway, and dumped it right on the side of the driveway.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you can't say he didn't have it back in his possession.
Well, it was the best thing to do to avoid any
legality.
Well, that or just
even him coming back to your house.
Coming back to the house. I didn't want my husband talking to him or like yelling or getting into any kind of debate over it. It's like, you know what? We're done. We're just done.
So if I may ask, how did you structure payments with that GC? Was it, deposits? Was it up front, the end?
Yeah. So this is my memory on this. I think I've blocked a lot of stuff out. Okay. But no, great question. And again, in hindsight, now that we've worked with what I consider a good GC, like it was so clear. And I was like, oh, well, this is how it should have been in the first place. Everything was kind of written in these vague terms. And then it was blocks amount of money. So there was like a payment to get started when this thing got done, and that's where it got crazy because I could follow it to some point. And then we learned that like he hid things and didn't finish like electrical work. Like we learned a lot. Like, and that's what I say when I say check on things, like we just trusted, like, yeah, this is all going to work out. And when the lights and everything's done, it'll all come together.
What a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about timeline. Did he tell you how long it was supposed to take? And
yeah,
how long did it take?
Well, he would always say timelines and they always extended out. Right. And so that's where the frustration would come in and we'd start asking more questions. And the more questions I asked, I could tell the more he was, you could just feel it rising. Right. And my husband and I were debating back and forth on what to do. We were already so deep into this. It was a real long 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Of that.
I knew it went on for a while. And I mean, like it would go on where you wouldn't see them for like
weeks at a time.
So that's maybe one piece of advice with the GC, at least for our experience, because we just did a reno. When we sat down with them, they were like, we will have a crew here every single day. And if we don't, you will know it. And the only reason we wouldn't have a crew there was like when they got to the point where we're like waiting for the counters and cabinets, but they had finished all the work. And they're like, we're not going to just be hanging out in your house. Just, we're going to give you your space back. So I think that's a really big question to ask is like, what's the schedule? Will they be on time? Who's here watching them? Because they're in your house, All right, Erin, as you know, home ownership comes with some headaches and maintenance that's just part of owning a home, right? So I know you've told me some stories. I thought maybe you could share some of your just homeowner experiences that people, not necessarily you're going to have these same ones, but just know when you buy a home, there's going to be some things that happen. So what do you got for us there?
So perspective, our home is on 55 acres of classified forest and a 3-acre lake. It's an A-frame, so we literally are in the middle of the woods, which I was I thought I was prepared for. So as a new homeowner, especially when going through a renovation, and through this renovation, one of the things that we did was we got the entire outside. We got the roof redone as well as the outside of the home. And there was about a 2-week period where they left, and I don't know the fancy term for it, but something where the roof goes like this and your wall connects to it. There was some flashing or something that was taken off because of whatever siding they were doing. And in the middle of the night, I hear this, and I look over, and there is a chipmunk on the inside of my window on the screen. And I'm like, what is this? And then the thing runs up and runs over and runs out. And I'm like, we need to get this flashing thing fixed. Whatever it is, we can't live like this. But through that.
And I will just say in her house, there's 0 attic space. So like she's in the primary bedroom and can see up into the rafters of the ceiling. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so that was one. And throughout the process we had, I knew there had been bats in the house at some point, but we thought, again, we got the siding all done. Everything was done. I was promised that this was supposed to take care of the issue. And so anyway, I'm hanging out one night. We're hanging out in bed. And I said, I'm just going to run and check on the cat one more time down in the basement before we were whatever. And I said, nope, not tonight. And sure enough, there was just a bat swooping around just right there in the middle of the house. I was like, not again. But yeah, so bats have been a little bit of a thing that we've had to deal with.
A nuisance?
Just slightly. And you can't, the thing about it is, and I didn't know all this, but you have to let them go. Like
they're protected or something,
they're protected,
right?
yes.
Yeah. I had a client who had them in her attic and they had to wait so much time to whatever they do, I guess, trap them or I don't know.
Oh,
but yeah,
let me tell you what they do,
couldn't just go up there and get rid of them.
No. They have to basically put either a hole in your house or find a funnel to let them out of your house naturally.
Oh, my word.
If they're Indiana brown bats, they're going to be hibernating right now, and they can't do anything while they're hibernating because they have to fly out on their own is the whole premise. So they put this thing in your house so they go out, they can't come back in, and then they come back after like 2 weeks, take it out, and then seal up that hole. And then basically they're supposed to seal up every hole around your house because bats can get in up to like a nickel size hole.
Wow.
In your home. And they can just crawl and get right in. And if you have to do anything to get rid of bats, you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. And if you'd like to guess what range mine hit,
10?
I'm going to guess 10 because I know this went on for a long time.
We purchased the warranty. The guy was amazing.
You got a bat warranty?
Oh, I have a bat warranty. You better believe it. And that guy's number is programmed into my phone right there. I call him directly if I think there's a bat in the house. He's very kind. He takes my calls.
Should we put his information in the show notes?
You know what? I can totally do that because I would ask him, but I'm the nicest bat guy ever. And trust me, I've been through a few. This is like our 4th bat guy.
You know, when someone's like, I have a guy for that.
Yes.
I never thought someone would be like, I only have one. I have 4 bat guys.
4 bat guys. Yeah. That's funny. I mean, I know your house is out in the country, but people get this in the suburbs too. Cause the one I was talking about, she lived in my neighborhood, suburban Indianapolis. So it's not just limited to lake homes on 60 acres.
How far does your bat guy travel?
Actually, he comes from like Huntington up north Indiana.
Wow.
Trust me, the guy right in town, not so much.
Oh man, that's good, Erin.
That's going to be one of the things we put on the thumbnail.
For sure.
How much do you think bat warranty is? Do you have bat warranty?
Well, I have a critter warranty because we had squirrels, but that's a whole different episode.
So on a segue, not really a segue from bats, but that would be, I think, a diss to you, Stacy. So my apologies for that. What made you, Erin, actually use Stacy as your realtor, knowing that it would have been her first closing? And what did she help you buy?
For me, when it came to finding a realtor, we had always gone through some element of a referral process. So my very first realtor was someone my brother knew who had referred to me. And through him, I was referred to somebody at, the bank to get my first time home buyer. So I love referrals. I love working with people I trust or getting, kind of like that trust through connections. And I'd worked with Stacy. Stacy was actually my boss. So I learned a little bit about her style and how she worked. And her work ethic was something that stood out to me. And so that kind of carried over into, all right, it's somebody I can trust. And my husband and her worked very closely together to work through selling our home. I took on a new job, so I was super busy and like chaotic. So it was easy. It was really nice to be able to turn my brain off and just put it with somebody that I trusted. And so yeah, it's just, again, knowing work ethic, excuse my language. Can't get that out.
So was Stacy after the contractor trust issues?
No, she was before. So,
Well, and can I just say that she did not buy the A-frame from me?
Okay.
That she already owned. I helped her get some land. That was the first closing they did with me, was the land around that.
was that the first one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then it was, the condo was last, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was the land.
The land was my very first closing ever,
Okay, that's right.
which made it easy because it wasn't like, we didn't have to do inspections and stuff like that. But I tried to act like I knew what I was doing. I promised behind the scenes my managing broker was helping me, so I wasn't flying completely blind. But
Like the bats?
yeah, I think that should be encouraging to new agents. I know like getting that first transaction is really scary because you're like, well, what if I have to tell them it's the first time I've done this? And Erin knew. I mean, like I was pretty transparent with her and she knew I was changing careers. So most likely your first closing will come from someone that you know and trust. And we had worked together for years. So she at least knew me in that aspect. And then your first client, and every client is typically a source of future business, as she was. And I know she sent me some referrals too. So just keep that in mind if you're getting started in real estate.
Yeah, I would add on to that the majority of my first transactions were people I had previously worked with. They weren't necessarily straight friends or even family, but people you worked with because you already have that rapport. And like you said, you know the work ethic, you know that they'll get it done. So that it already creates trust.
Yeah. Like I watched Stacy make decisions, so I was able to trust her judgment and I knew how she operated.
And you were afraid she'd fire you if she didn't get to help you.
Okay, I must say I did not report to her. We did not work together at that time.
Not at that time. I had already left that job. So I wasn't like, okay, guys, if you want a good performance review, I need you to buy some real estate.
That's one way to get business.
Yeah.
Well, what a conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And, as a first-time home buyer, as using somebody who just maybe had their first closing transaction as a real estate agent, that's all been extremely helpful for folks to know, especially with these kind of crazy stories. Most buyers are not going to have these same exact situations or experiences, but, crazy things can happen. So great insights to walk away with for sure.
Yeah, that's so true. Real estate isn't just about buying or selling. I mean, that's really where it starts, and it's what happens after the closing table. Erin's story is a great reminder of that for sure. From her rental properties to renovation headaches, wildlife encounters, there's always something to learn.
And I mean, for all the other agents out there, Erin's trust in Stacy really goes to show how important relationships are in business. I mean, your future client could lead to multiple transactions in the future from a referral standpoint.
Yeah. Well, Erin, thank you again for joining us and keeping it real. We love hearing your stories. And if you have a real estate story to share or that you'd like us to cover, be sure to send us a message. You can find us on social media or reach out directly.
Yep. And that's it for today's episode of Hoosier Homes and Hustles. Let's hustle smarter together.
See you next time.